Now, I know some people are probably going to say, "What? You're making another drama video? Didn't you say you weren't going to do any more drama videos? Or anything related to drama?" Well, yes. Well, at least when it comes down to anything, left for the podcast. But when it comes down to this particular stupidity, I think it'd be best to just do a quick video, as well as go back to my roots a little bit and have a little bit of fun. So, this particular video is from our good friend, and I say that sarcastically, K9-Aversion, calling herself hypocritically the defenders of humans in the natural world. And the video itself is titled Uncut Video, a girl pushes a bear, or pushing a bear after her dogs harass it and get what they deserve. Oh boy! I can only see the people that drink the Kool-Aid only liking this video. Now, something I should mention too right off the bat is I've seen this particular video that they're talking about, and it's been circulating just a little bit, but oh gosh, the stupidity of K9-Aversion. It's just, and it's ironic, especially with, actually moronic, I should say, with some of the things she says, and doesn't really think about the bigger picture of everything that she says or does. So, without further delay, actually no, before we get started, I should probably, even though I put it in my description, and I'll say it on video too, we at Novakast do not condone any form of harassment, bullying, cyberbullying, doxing of any kind. So please do not do it on our behalf. And just in general, don't do it. Just don't do it in general. Because then you just give people like this ammo for them to claim that they are being harassed and bullied when they aren't. Now, anybody with a heart and, care for all living creatures, no matter how dangerous they are, I look at that and see an individual who is clearly trying to protect their animals that more likely they put a lot of care and time to, as well as money, and protect them from an animal that is basically intruding onto their property. So, let's see how K9-Aversion tries to spin this as if they're the ones at fault. Because this video is something where she tries to do that. Stupidly, I should add.
My viewer Derek Smith alerted me to this viral video. Everyone is praising the dog owner for saving her fur babies. Never mind the innocent mother bear that was pushed and possibly injured, he wrote.
What? What the fuck?
None of these so-called animal lovers show any empathy at all for the bear or her cubs.
I gotta say, in this situation, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because again, I care for all animals. Whether it be my dogs, the cats, whatever. I'm looking at it this way. Between the dogs that, that stay in my home, that I care for, and the bear that is, again, to some degree, walking onto my property and attacking my dogs, I'm going to choose my dogs out of the two. I'm sorry. I'm sure her tone would probably change, though, if she found out that this particular mother bear was swatting at her beloved hummingbirds. I'm pretty sure her tone would probably be a lot different when it comes down to defending the bear.
There is no mention of the fact that the dogs harassed the bear.
I will not be harassed.
When I'm in my own yard, I won't be harassed when I'm in my own yard, minding my own business.
You are made of stupid.
And got what they deserved.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand this logic. How exactly? By barking? By doing something that dogs, when they're alert, naturally do? And by the way, the definition for harass or harassment is a subject to aggressive pressure or intimidation. Now, I gotta ask, because at this point, especially with the dog trying to swat at the dogs, would that count as harassment? Wouldn't that mean that in some sense the bear itself was also, it deserved to be pushed because it was in sense harassing the family that it was, that was basically living on that property? The bear was, and its cubs were basically invading in their property or space. So wouldn't that in turn reflect that maybe perhaps that the bear was also harassing the family as well? I hate making this argument because it's fucking stupid. Claiming that an animal can harass you. It's fucking dumb. And in this sense, especially when it comes down to an individual, with everything going on, I should add, an individual who saw their dogs basically being harmed, doing what they thought was right, trying to make this whole thing that the dogs were at fault or the bears were, it's just fucking stupid. It really is. And by the way, I love the fact that this lady continuously tries to promote her own videos as if they're actually factual, when in reality they aren't. It's just regurgitating idiotic beliefs, if you ask me.
This is never mentioned in other reports of wild animal attacks involving dogs either. The wild animals that are minding their own business defend themselves after the dogs harass or attack them.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
So anybody with the right mind could probably just do a quick Google search on whether or not dogs are territorial and realize that to some degree dogs are territorial. If there is a predator that is intruding on their territory, then they will proceed to try to protect it. And to some extent, either patrol or aggressively protect an area that they live in. So to that degree, you gotta understand that one, the dogs weren't harassing the bear, as you want to keep trying to call it. As to some degree, or at least to a major degree, you have an animal who is a predator invading their territory, and the dogs, especially the larger dogs, see this as a potential threat and try whatever they can to protect their territory. Again, anybody with the right mind to do a quick Google search could look this up. An infant could look this up.
But we are never told this. The wild animals are always portrayed as savage, cruel beasts, and the dogs are always painted as the innocent victims, or even the heroes, if they happen to kill the defensive wild animals when humans, especially children, are present.
I gotta say it again, you gotta love just, the constant, slideshows of her thumbnails of her previous videos. Look at all the lies I've portrayed to a bunch of people. Because, there's a variety of people who are afraid of dogs, who basically just drink up all of my bullshit. Your videos aren't factual, lady. Stop showcasing them. Anybody who has some form of logic, will look up the information and realize that you're full of shit. Now, I think I have to stress this again because we say this every time I talk about you, or at least, discuss one of your videos, is that myself as well as the rest of Novakast, we understand that there are people that are afraid of dogs. But at the same time, there's a difference between somebody who's afraid of dogs, who to an extent understands that other people have dogs and accepts it, to another degree where you have individuals like you who are just, their heads are so far up their asses that they are going to try to pull any tactic possible to try to make the claim that dogs should be banned because you allow your own emotions, your fear, your delusions to dictate your own actions. Look, life isn't perfect. I'm just gonna say it. Life isn't perfect. Not every dog is evil, but I will agree that there have been dog attacks. Some of them, I will say, at random, which is odd, but some of them, it's due to them trying to protect their own, either defending themselves or protecting their territory. Because again, to some degree, dogs, like a variety of other animals, are territorial. However, I will also say that, again, the same goes for other animals too. A variety of other animals are territorial. A variety of other animals are much larger threats than dogs. Much larger threats than cats. Again, if I were to choose at this point, especially in a situation, if I were to choose sympathy for either the dog or the bear, especially in this situation, and by the way, how about just quick exercise K9-Aversion, because clearly, again, your head is so far up your ass, you don't look at the bigger picture. Look at this in the eyes of the individual who owns the dogs, okay? You see your dogs in your own yard, and a bear and her cubs are intruding on your property, swatting at your dogs, and by the video, looks like they was about to grab one of the dogs. What would be your immediate reaction? And as a lot of people, by the way, in the news videos, which have to some degree detested some of the actions towards the individual, claiming that what she did was dangerous, she did what she thought was right. And I'm sure, hear me out, I'm sure that if this was your child in this situation that was being swatted at by the bear, I'm sure your tone would be completely different. I'm sure, hear me out, I'm sure, if anything, if your child was in danger in this situation, it was your child and not the dogs that was being attacked by that bear, I'm sure you would have taken your dog-killing machete and proceed to try to swat at the bear with your freaking machete. Because to some extent, you care for your child. And don't try to make it out as, oh, he's calling dogs children. No. There's a sense of remorse or caring for another living being or creature. That's the reason why the people did that. Or at least when it comes to that situation where the people basically that 17-year-old girl risked her own fucking life to protect her dogs. Because to an extent, it just imagine, just fucking imagine it. But again, you probably wouldn't, because again, your head's so far up your ass, you don't want to see another picture or another perspective of the whole thing.
This is utter madness. Jim C. writes, dogs are a pest.
The definition for a pest is a destructive insect or other animal that attacks crops, food, livestock, etc. Or, in some term, an annoying person or thing or a nuisance. So, to kind of reverberate people who are annoying to some degree, I would classify as a pest as well. So, you know, people like K9-Aversion, for instance.
Some of the news services have been deceitful by cutting out the beginning of the bear video.
And how exactly does that help your argument? Or at least, you know, make what you're saying credible? I'm gonna be perfectly honest, looking at the video itself, and by the way, looking at the full video, and I looked at another source just to make sure that, you know, you didn't cut anything out, but the first thing you see of that video is literally the bear intruding on their property. That's the start of the video. Uncut, the bear intrudes on the property, and afterwards the dogs start barking, because again, to some degree, dogs are territorial animals, and only more likely barking because they are defending, or at least trying to defend, what they classify as home, or at least the place that they use as their territory. So, to a degree, again, I'm trying to understand where you're trying to make it seem like the dogs are in the wrong. If anything, the bear is in the wrong for, again, like, and I hate to make it sound like we're trying to humanize these animals, because that's what it feels like. Like, oh, the bear's in the wrong. No, the dog's in the wrong. Just for the point of argument, if we were trying to humanize these animals, which it seems like that's what you're doing right now, especially make it seem like, oh, the bear is the one who's the victim of all this. I'm sorry. The bear and her cubs went onto their property, and to an extent, because the dogs, doing what they do naturally to protect their own territory, began to bark. Hopefully to try to maybe, you know, with so many dogs coming out to bark at the bear, maybe to an extent try to, with so much loud noise, to push it back or push it away from the property. But no, that's not what happened. The dog, or the bear, then proceeded to swat at the dogs, and again, looking at the video, tried to grab one of them, by which the teenager, or the teenage girl in the video, proceeded to push the bear off the wall. Which, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I feel she's justified in doing so. Because again, she is defending her house and defending her animals. So, it makes me question, is it wrong now to defend yourself or defend your animals? Are we in the wrong for doing what we think is right by trying to defend other animals from other animals? Whatever happened to caring for nature? Oh wait, that's right. Unless it's a dog, it doesn't matter.
Quite a number of people are commenting that when you see the whole video, it is clear that the dogs are harassing the bear and its cubs, not the other way around.
Okay, with that statement, because again, we've seen the full video, you give me the opportunity to play this clip.
I smell Jar. You're ugly.
Okay, to do a quick play-by-play of that particular video that we're talking about, since we're kind of talking about the same video, which is approximately 34 seconds. To do a quick play-by-play, because again, you want to be dishonest. It starts off with the bear basically coming onto the property with its cubs. Dogs start barking, proceed to try to an extent, because they're protecting their own territory, bark at the bear and aggressively trying to push it back away from the property. But the dog proceeds to get a few good swipes at the larger dog of the group, and to an extent, by the looks of it, try to grab one of the small dogs. The teenager, who again, as it was said in one of the videos, was 17, even though against what you should be doing when it comes to a bear attack, which I'm classifying this as a bear attack because it was deadly close to it. Run up to the bear, push it over the ledge, grab her dogs, and run off camera. That is literally the full video. So this whole claim that the dogs are the aggressors is bunch of bullshit. To some degree, especially when it comes down to the situation of the dogs doing what they would naturally do when in term of predators, the dogs literally barked at the predator, trying to push it away from their property or their territory. That's it. If anything, again, because I hate doing this whole humanizing animals argument, the bear is the aggressor. Not the dogs, the bear. Anybody with a brain can see that.
So that is encouraging. This viral video and the way in which it is being presented to us is another example of how deceptive and manipulative dog worshippers are.
I think the same could be said for individuals like the dog haters or delusional dog haters like yourself, K9-Aversion, who showcases a slideshow of screenshots of your videos to make it seem like that they were actually factual, when in reality they aren't.
Many of us see through this deception and manipulation, but many people are afraid to call it out and to speak up for fear of the backlash they know they will get.
Or, if anything, people who are afraid of dogs acknowledge the fact that, other people own dogs and accept that fact to a degree, because again, when it comes down to it, a lot of people just live and let live. But you, unfortunately, are just so delusional you won't accept that.
Dog worshippers are as loud, aggressive, intimidating, violent, and in your face as the dogs they worship.
I gotta have a quick laugh at when she, claims that dog owners are violent. And it's always funny, especially when in situations like this, or at least discussing people like her followers, people like I Hate Dogs, Dog Lovers Mentally Ill, and Rational Thinker, have displayed and expressed acts of violence towards the people who have been dissenters to K9-Aversion, I Hate Dogs, or just, if anything in general, people that they have worshipped. To the point where they, individuals, again, like I Hate Dogs, Dog Lovers Mentally Ill, and Rational Thinker, are literally brandishing weapons, calling out the names of the people that they despise, and declaring the acts that they were going to take towards certain individuals that go against their logic. So, just don't claim that dog owners are the only ones that are violent, because you yourself and your group are, if anything, the ones that are violent and express violence towards people that disagree with you.
So they drown us out. They appear to be the majority, when I think they are the minority.
You serious?
It's time for us to be brave and to call out this BS. Channels like mine are empowering people to speak their minds, and more of us are doing so.
No. I hate this delusion of you're empowering people. You're not empowering people. You're instilling fear, irrational and abusive fear towards individuals who, to an extent, don't understand a particular animal. And when they go to your channel, they only see the worst. But instead, actually, if anything, they don't do their own research. For a lot of people, they don't do their own research or don't have first-hand experience with these animals. And to that degree, when they see videos like yours, it only just instills fear. Again, it doesn't empower people. Are you fucking insane? Your videos are far from empowering. Especially since you, to a great degree, promote ignorance. And if anything, shun people who have a different opinion than you. Here's something that's actually empowering to a large degree. And I request this of everybody that watches my videos, or if anything, watches hers. Do your research. If you want a second opinion, do quick Google searches of certain things that you don't understand. If anything, again, you'll probably get more information out of either my video or hers. Again, because I'm just reacting to her shit. This is more of looking at her stuff and giving my own rebuttal. Because to a certain degree, this lady hates it. She hates it when other people say things that go against her logic. That go against the little glass house that she hides herself in. So, again, do yourself a favor. For those who are watching my video or hers, do a quick Google search. Look up the information, and if anything, go to a local shelter. If anything, volunteer for a shelter. Look at some of the animals that she is talking about, and take some time to get to know the animals. Or if anything, research them. Have some interaction. And give us your opinions afterwards. Because clearly, this is an individual, again, who only is fueled by her own delusion and fear, and won't allow any other person to be considered in some sense, right in her eyes. Or if anything that goes against her is wrong. So I ask you again, don't just listen to her blindly. Do the research. If you want actual interactions with the animals and have no interactions, maybe to an extent, volunteer at a shelter. Or if anything, if you know a person who has these particular animals, get to know how the animal works instead of just listening to this woman blindly. But with that, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one and take care. Peace.